Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Roden, and in today's video we are going to be going over how to perfectly build a Lexus SC300 in my opinion. Now this is specifically talking about the SC300, but obviously a lot of these interior, exterior, even some of the performance mods can be thrown onto an SC400. On top of that, this is a new series that we're starting on this channel. We did one with the BMW E36 before, and now we're doing it with the SC300. And for those that are about to be like, oh my god, I'm so much smarter than he is. Yes, you're right. I did get this idea from Alex Martini. Yes, his YouTube channel is called Martini Works. Yes, you should go check him out. But today it's on the Lexus SC300, and let's get right into the video. All right, so now the way this works is we're going to go talk about we're going to go into certain categories. So obviously we're going to start with exterior, then interior, and then performance. And I'm just going to tell you how I would build the car if I owned one. You know, I'm not saying this is how you should build the car. That is absolutely not what this video is about. I am literally just saying how I would build the car and how much total it would cost for all these modifications and stuff like that. So first off is the actual car itself, the price for the car. How much does an SC300 cost in today's market? Well, since I do want a manual one, because I just want to do that instead of swap it with manual, we are going to be looking at dropping around $7,000 for an SC300, which is pretty expensive. And there's even more expensive SC300 manual models out there, but ours is going to have a little bit of miles on it because mine's going to be kind of like a drift build. We're going for a lot of drift stuff on this car. Okay, boys, last time with the E36 was more just like a street build, like something that's fun that you can take to the track but also drive home. This one's going to be a drift build, so it's gonna get pretty expensive, my boy. But anyway, let's get into the exterior. First up is I don't usually do wide body kits. You know, I had a 350Z and Integra. I've never really cared too much about wide body kits for most cars, but this car has a Duraflex V-Speed wide body kit on a website called Overboost for $1,200 that I thought just looks snazzy. It looks freaking gosh diddly darn amazing. So we're going with that. And it also makes sense because, you know, it's a drift car, so they got to have some, you don't want to destroy the quarter panels. So if it has some fenders over it, you don't care if you break those. You can just buy some more ones. Next up is a Duraflex ABF trunk wing. It looks kind of like the stock wing. It's $300. It kind of looks like the stock wing, but a little bit larger, which would fit perfectly because the car is going to be a little bit wider. So it would need a little bit of a larger wing. So I think it would fit nicely on this car. Next is the V-Line carbon fiber hood for $1,100. Now I usually don't actually put a carbon fiber like stuff all over my cars, like carbon fiber hoods. I always think that kind of stuff looks a little bit just not for me personally. Like, it's a little too aggressive for my taste. But this looks good, and I think it would look good with, if I'm already doing the wide body kit and stuff like that, I think this would look very, very nice. Next is something really small and it's kind of stupid, but I'm doing it. It's the neon underglow. You can find this on Amazon for literally 80 bucks. It's pretty much just LED strips. It's super cheap, but I put neon underglow on my Z a while back, and then mice chewed through the wires, like literally the day after I put it on, and I was really upset about that. But for the day that it lasted, I actually thought it was kind of cool. Like, yeah, I'm not driving around with like the freaking RGB lights flashing and strobing. I think that stuff is just a little bit too over the top. But if you're just doing like one color just to make it look kind of nice, or if you're drifting at night and you got all this like color underneath the car, I think it looks good. Like, I don't understand why people make fun of it so much. Next is the roof spoiler for eBay. This one is another one that people make fun of a lot. I got the roof spoiler on my Z and I loved it. It was really cool. I don't understand why people make fun of this. It's just a nice little addition. Yeah, there are some that are like way over the top and really aggressive looking. That's not what I would go for. I would just go for like a nice little touch of a roof spoiler. I don't know. Next is window tints. Now this is obviously depending on the car, who you get it from, where you are, how big your wee is. It depends on a lot of stuff depending on how much you're going to spend on the window tints. But I spent $400 on my Z, so I'm going to say $400 for this car as well. I think that's pretty safe to say. Next is wrapping the car. Now, unless I got it in black, I would wrap it black. Because we're going to go for like a clean but VIP style, like mafia type build on this car. You already know what we're doing. And I had a partnership with Aluco Vinyl last time, so I got my wrap for free. And I used my friend named Devin Small, and he's the one that wrapped it for me. And that total combination would cost you $2,500. But like I said, I got the wrap for free, so it ended up costing me only like $1,000. I think Devin wrapped it for me for $1,000. I highly recommend, if you're going for like a wrap or paint or something like that, don't bring it to an actual shop. Find somebody near you that's like you're friends with, or that you know somebody that, you know, can connect you with that person, because it's going to save you so much money. $2,500 not only to buy the wrap but also to get it like professionally installed is incredibly cheap. Okay, and that is really expensive, but like still, like $2,500 is still expensive for a car mod. But usually you're spending like $5 grand to change the color of a car, and you're doing it for $2,500 if you find like a friend. And again, I got my Luco vinyl for sponsorship, so I didn't have to spend that much. Next is the wheels. We're gonna go with ARC AR5, just silver wheels. For they cost around $1,000 for a set of 4 of them. And ARC, as much as I know, is like a pretty big BMW. Like a lot of people put them on BMWs, but I think they look really good on SC300. So we're doing these wheels, man. I think they look incredible. Next is the tires. I'm just gonna put $1,000 here. I don't know exactly what tires I'd put on the car. It kind of depends on like availability and for the size of the wheels. Where I'm from, at least, like it only like for the Z, it needed some big old tires, so it was really tough to get them sometimes. I just kind of had to settle for like random brands half the time. And so that might be you. That might be the case, like this, what you're under. So that's why I'm putting it there. Next is clear tail lights by a guy on Instagram actually named Cleared by Nick. Go check him out. He does clear tail lights, like custom clear tail lights for every car under the sun. He can do it no matter what car you got. And I personally don't know the price. I've never actually asked the guy. I've never actually got it done by him or anything like that. But I would probably have to guess around $400 for him to do it. I can't expect it would be that much because it's not that big of a job. You know, he just has to take the lens off, clear it out from underneath, and then put the lens back on. Like, it's not that big of a job, so I would guess around $400, which brings us to a grand total for the exterior of $8,080, which is obviously pretty expensive. And if you include the price of the car, we're at $15,080 already. But think about it, you now have a SC300 that looks incredible. That is a show car ready SC300, bro. It's not fast, it's not fun to drive yet, but you have a show car ready SC300. Like, that is a good deal. Now we're gonna get into the interior though. All right, so for the interior, I never really go overboard, and I really don't think you have to go overboard, honestly. So we're just gonna go with some simple things. First up is the shift knob and the shift boot. Now you might be thinking to yourself, oh, well, if it's gonna be a drift car, aren't you getting a sequential transmission? No, sir. I do not want a sequential gearbox. Okay, I want the regular H pattern transmission. Why? Because I don't want to spend that much money on the sequential gearbox. That would be insane. So instead, we're just going to modify the shift knob and boot to make it look pretty. Everybody has their own personal taste and style when it comes to shift knobs. It's insane. Some people put like freaking samurai sword handles. Some people put like dildos on them. Some people put like anime girls on them. I would just do like a random like black Mishimoto shift knob, you know, and shift boot, which would that combo usually is like $50, so just gonna drop $50 there. Next is a fire extinguisher and a fire extinguisher mount. That's another like $50. I mentioned this in the E36 video. I'm gonna mention it in this video too. I'm probably gonna mention it in every video. Every single car you own should have a fire extinguisher and a mount in it, because there's absolutely no reason not to. Literally come up with one reason as to why you wouldn't have a fire extinguisher mounted into your interior, and I'll take that statement back, but it's $50, bro. And it could literally save your car. Next thing is black paint for any interior trim that isn't black, because I like my interior to be completely black. I just think it looks the best that way. Unless obviously it's like red. If it's a red interior, that's different. Like BMWs make a lot of red interiors. That would be cool. But if not, it's black, man. I don't like tan interiors. I don't like gray interiors. I want them to be black. Next is starry roof headliner. Now this is a big old job, but luckily it is cheap. It only costs around $20 to do it, but it takes a long time. For those that don't know, it literally is like, if you ever seen the Rolls-Royce interior where it looks like it's like a space, you know, like it looks like it's a starry roof. That's kind of like the whole point. It's like it's supposed to be a starry night, looking up into the thing. It just looks so good. I would do it for sure in this car. It would be awesome. Next is NRG racing seats. Now I know these aren't the best racing seats out there, but I don't have the money to drop on like Sparcos or Recaros, okay? So I'm buying some NRGs, and they cost around $600 for a set of 2 of them. Now, I would obviously not have the rear seats in there. I would gut that bad boy, but yeah, we're gonna drop $600 on 2 racing seats, and they are still really nice looking seats. Next is the quick release steering wheel and steering wheel hub, again from NRG. People have said some bad things about NRG in the past, but then again, people have said some great things about NRG in the past, so it's kind of take it or leave it. I found a combo of the wheel and hub for $400 for the SC300, so that's what we're going with. You kind of need a quick release wheel if you're going to be drifting, by the way. It's kind of just it's a necessity, my friend. Next is floor mats by a company named P2M. These are, again, this is kind of something like the shift knob and shift boot. They don't need this. It's just personal preference, and if you want to like make it look a little bit more personal, you can get some custom floor mats. I found these ones by P2M. They're like a checkered flag like thing. I think it looks pretty nice. I'd put them in there. Next is the half cage from Evasive Motorsports. Not only do a lot of drift tracks require you to have some sort of roll cage in the car if you actually want to go on the track itself, but it's also probably just smart for you to do it anyway. Drift cars surprisingly roll over us more than you would think. And so having a little half of a cage in there, not a full one, because, you know, again, this is not like a fully purpose-built drift car. It just is a pretty good drift car. It costs $550. Like, it could save you, literally save your life if you roll over accidentally and the roof doesn't crush your head in because you have a half cage in there. So I would put it in there. But for a total of $1,870, pretty much the cheapest one of all these things, it would be the interior for sure. I've never been like a big interior guy, and I think that would be plenty for me. I don't want to go too over the top of the interior. I think that would be just enough. But now let's get into the performance. All right, so performance mods are a little bit more expensive from the interior, but not as expensive as the exterior. First up is a short throw shifter from a company called Cube Speed for $220 for the SC300 platform. I read some reviews on it and people were saying it looked good. Now, I don't know much about this company at all. Cube Speed, I don't know much about them, but it seems nice. They seem good, so that's what I'd go with. And you kind of need short throw shifters in these old JDM cars, dude. You just trust me, you need them. You need them. Next is a Hydro e-brake from Chase Bays. Chase Bays has been a big provider of Hydro e-brakes for quite some time now. They have a really good reputation. For $270, some people will say that they're bad. Some people also don't know how to install things correctly. And so you kind of have to, you know, sift through that kind of stuff and make sure that these people actually know what they're talking about. And after you do that, you kind of see that a lot of reputable people like Chase Bays. So I'm going to go with it. Next is welding the diff. That's free. You just literally take two pieces of metal, open up the diff, weld up the gears together, and then you're good. Bada boom, bada bing. You kind of need a welded diff too if you're drifting, by the way. You do not want to do that on open diff. Next is a straight pipe. I've said this in the E36 video. I'm going to say it again. You can save so much more money than people think when straight piping a car, dude. If you want to like an actual custom exhaust, yeah, you're dropping some big bucks on there because you can't do that yourself. But if you want to straight pipe a car, you just cut the freaking resonator out, cut the muffler out, and weld pipes. It's that easy. Like, find a welder. It literally costs you like $50. That's what I went with for the straight pipe price, because that's how much it would cost me if I wanted to straight pipe my car. All I would do is go to an auto parts store, buy pipes, obviously measure the size of the pipes of your stock exhaust and get the same size, line them up, cut them to make them fit, and then find somebody that's good at welding, have them welded together. All you're gonna have to pay for is the cost of the pipes, which is $50. Not even, sometimes you can find them for even less than that. So it's easy money. Next is Megan Racing coilovers. You need some coilovers, my boy, and I found Megan Racing to be a good middle ground for the SC300. $800, that's definitely a little bit expensive, but you don't want to cheap out on coils, my boy. You do not. Next is the Drift HQ front bash bar. $375. These are not only useful for, obviously, if you get into an accident, it does protect the front end a little bit more than the stock bumper, but on top of that, it's really good for if you do have a drift car, and with Megan Racing coilovers, it's probably really low on the ground, and it's probably pretty tough to get a jack underneath it. Well, these have jack mounting points from the front and the back, so that's really useful as well, and that's why we're also going to go with the Drift HQ rear bash bar for $300. Again, same thing as the front one, back one needs it too. Next is the Drift HQ angle kit. There are a lot of angle kits for the SC300 platform. Some are more expensive than this one, some are even cheaper than this one, but I went with one right in the middle for $1,800. Drift HQ is like partners with Adam LZ, and that dude is literally a professional drifter, so like if he's partners with these guys, chances are they're doing it correctly. $1,800 is definitely expensive, but it's gonna completely change how this car performs in drifting, like completely change it. And so you you don't need it. People drift on stock cars, like people drift on open diff stock height Mustangs, okay? Like, you don't need this at all, but it's going to massively help. Next is a CX Racing T70 turbo kit. This is, you need to turbocharge. It's a 2JZ, my boy. It is a 2JZ. You need to turbo a 2JZ in order, like, that's if you buy a 2J and you don't turbo it, I feel like you're committing a crime, okay? And so I definitely buy this one. It costs $2,300, so that's pretty expensive, you know. That's actually the most expensive single mod besides the wrap on this entire list. So, you know, you're looking at dropping some big bucks on it, but it is a turbo kit, and you do not want to cheap out on a turbo. And this is not even the most expensive turbo for these cars out there either. Like, there are more expensive turbo kits for this car. Okay, so you could definitely get away with doing better, but you could also get away with doing a lot worse. So I think this is a good middle ground. And finally, for the performance, is just a tune. It really depends on who you go with and how good they are and how much they're going to be charging for their services. But I'd say on average, I feel like people are probably spending around $200 on a tune for these old Japanese cars. The thing is, a lot of BMW guys are probably going to comment down below and be like, that is so wrong. No, you get scammed. Okay, I've noticed that a lot. A lot of BMW guys massively overpay for how much they like there'll be like a Honda dude and he's like, I'm gonna tune my Honda. Oh, okay. He goes out with his buddy for like 10 minutes and comes back and he's like, he gives his buddy $20 and the car's tuned. You know what I mean? Like and then there's BMW guys that are like, oh, I gotta go tune my BMW. Oh, okay, yeah, I gotta grab my $1,000 out of my dresser drawer real quick to pay this guy off. It's like, that's not normal, man. Not a lot of people are dropping that much money for tunes. I would say $200 is on average how much you're going to be looking at paying, because again, it really just depends. You can go to an actual like professional like race car shop and yes, they're going to charge you like $1,000 on this tune, but you could also most of the time get like pretty much the same result from just a backyard tuner if you trust the guy enough and if you know him well enough, and he's going to do it for you for dirt cheap. So I'm going to say $200. I think it's a good middle ground, and that gives us a grand total of $6,315 for the performance. And now let's get into the small things that are all just very, very tiny. All right, so like I said, small things here, there's nothing really big to talk about. First up is debadging the car. We all know how to do that. Get a piece of fishing line, warm that puppy up, get the badges off, get all that grubby, nasty, sticky, double-sided tape off the paint of the car, and then you're done. Next is smaller antennas. I do this on all of my cars because antennas are massively large. You can buy like a smaller sized antenna for that car. Almost every car has one, and it costs $20. So super simple. Another thing I do for all my cars is I delete the rear windshield wiper. I just think it looks cleaner without a windshield wiper on the back. You don't have to. I totally understand if you don't want to, because it kind of sucks when it's raining out and you hop in the car and you can't see anything out of the back window. So I understand why you wouldn't want to do that, but I do it to all mine. It costs $20, and I think it looks a lot cleaner. Next is I would actually keep all the plastics, like the plastic trim and stuff like that. I would actually keep that chrome, despite what people think, but I would restore all plastics. So that's things like the door handles. I think those are plastic on this car. Things like the little, God, I can't think of what it's called, like that little piece that like where your windshield wipers go when the car isn't, when the windshield wipers aren't on. You know what I'm talking about? That little black piece right there, I'd replace. I'd restore that. I'd just restore all the plastic. Just, make it look pretty. I think that would cost around $100 for a total of $140 for the small things. Like I said, not a lot here, but now we can talk about the actual total cost of the car and everything like that. So with the adding up the small things, the performance, the interior, and the exterior, we get a grand total of $16,405 to turn a SC300 into what I believe is an perfect car. Like, I think that would be awesome. It'd be super fun to drive. It's not so bad, like so race car to the point where you can't drive it on the street whatsoever either, but at the same time, it's not like you're not going to want to daily drive this thing, because it is still kind of a race car. It has a turbo, it's turboed, it's freaking got an angle kit on it. Like, the car would be a purpose-built drift car that you could also drive on the street if you have to, and it would also look incredible, have a full wide body on it, full freaking body kit on it. Everything would look insane on the car. It would be wrapped. It would have a full interior, perfect interior for you, racing seats, roll cage. Everything would be perfect for the interior for me. It would be a perfect car for $16,000 added on. But with that being said, you still have to add on the $7,000 for the original cost of the car. So that puts us at $23,405 if I were to buy and build a SC300 right now. And that sounds crazy. Like, 23 grand is a lot of money. That is a lot of money. But think about it. There are cars out there right now. BMW 340i is a perfect example. I've been wanting a 340i for quite some time, and I've been looking at buying them, and they're like, on average, I would say 25 grand. And so it's like you're dropping a little bit more, honestly, on a stock BMW 340i, or you can drop that same amount of money, and yes, you do get a 30, almost 30, well, not almost 30, actually, like 25-year-old Lexus. But it's a 25-year-old Lexus that's going to be miles more fun than that BMW when you first get it. Okay, like, it's going to be so much more fun, dude. That car is going to be that is the perfect XT300 to me. That is like an awesome car. So yeah, 23 grand, that's a lot of money to drop on one single old Lexus. But at the same time, I think as a car guy, you can kind of understand why people would do that. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. That is the end of today's video of how to perfectly build a Lexus SC300 in my opinion. Now, again, keep in mind, you, sir, have your own opinions on how to build cars. So you are not going to agree with everything I said on this car. You might not like lowering cars. Maybe you would buy this SC300 and lift it and take it off-road. I don't know. You might do that. Like, nobody knows what everybody else is thinking when it comes to cars. So if I modified this car ugly, in your opinion, that's fine, bro. You don't gotta like it. You probably don't like how my Acura Integra looks. You probably don't like how my 350Z looked. That's fine. I did. I might not like how your car looks. Who knows? It's fine, though. It's just how I wanted to build this guy. This is how I would build the Lexus SC300. It's not a guide. It's not me telling SC300 owners out there that this is what you should do to your car. It's just how I would have done it. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. I hope you guys are enjoying this new series. I think it's a ton of fun. Let me know what other cars you want to see me build next. I have this guy left a comment, and that's the reason why I did this video, because somebody wanted to see it. So absolutely, I'll absolutely do it if you want to see it. You know, I think that's good. That's good fun. I'm gonna work on making like an actual intro script for this video too, to make it nice and professional. I'm gonna add like pictures of the guy's comment, whoever leaves a comment in this video for the next car that I end up doing, I'll add a picture of your comment at the beginning to give you a nice little shout out. I'm gonna, you know, nicely get a nice shout out to Alex Martini done in the beginning, so that he always gets his credit, because I think he deserves his credit for every one of these videos, since he is the one that is mainly doing it right now. So I'm gonna get a nice little intro set up and all that stuff. I'm gonna take this one a little serious. Take this a little serious, Marco. Take it. So let me know what other videos you'd like to see on this little topic, and das vidania. Have a nice night.